Hello, thank you for joining us for another Scale Up Milwaukee Google Hangout. My name is Elmer Moore, and I'm the project team lead for Scale Up Milwaukee. And we've got two fantastic guests today, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Greg, why don't you go first?
I'm Greg Dorg. I represent JP Morgan Chase. I run our commercial banking group here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I am voluntarily and excitedly active with Scale Up Milwaukee.
I love that. And Jason?
Hi, I'm Jason Tienor. I'm CEO of Telconet. We're a local Milwaukee-based Internet of Things company providing solutions to help you make your home and your business more intelligent.
So between the two of you, I think I understand what Chase does and what Greg might spend his day doing. Jason, give us a little bit of a deeper understanding of what your company does and what you're trying to do at your company.
Absolutely. So the product that Telconet provides is a complete solution for intelligent automation. Largely, we service the commercial industry, but we are moving very rapidly into the consumer market as well. The solution consists of four distinct pieces. One are products such as smart thermostats, smart wall outlets, smart light switches, all that talk wirelessly so that as you enter an environment, the environment is making decisions and configuring itself for your comfort and for energy savings and for operational savings based on different factors in the environment. Outside of those products, we provide a cloud-based software that monitors all of those products and manages them, and also participates in creating analytics that help you drive more performance and more savings within the environment itself. The third piece are that we provide services. We have a 24/7 support center located right here in Milwaukee that will monitor all of these devices and make sure they're up and operational and providing the type of savings that the customer is looking for. And then lastly, we provide a series of mobile applications that allow our customers, as well as their end users or their guests, to interact with these devices, to turn off lights, to turn up thermostats directly from their own smart device. So all of this technology working together is truly what our platform is. And my job here is basically to take the development that we've created, the EcoSmart platform that we've created, and expand it very rapidly and become a significant part of the evolving Internet of Things space.
I love it. And there's another incredibly important aspect of your job, which is to make sure that you're growing rapidly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, we had a secret plan today, getting the two of you in this conversation. We've got an entrepreneur who is at the helm of a fast-moving ship that's growing and will absorb capital and resources as it does so. And we've got really a symbol of resources in the form of financial capital. My interest today is having a brief conversation about how the two of you can work better together. How do we make it a more seamless integration between the capital providers and the capital users, if you will, to manufacture more rapid and significant growth in this region? Greg, why don't you take a stab at that first?
Well, the good news is there's no absence of capital available to business leaders, entrepreneurs like Jason. It would be a little tougher if his business hasn't even started finding capital from conventional sources like commercial banks. Generally, that's not what banks are set out to do. But you've got a very viable business that's been built by an entrepreneur and it has already demonstrated and proven his reason to exist and has built the foundation to be able to continue to grow his business. There's no shortage of capital. As far as how we link him together, Jason's got lots of options in this marketplace. There's plenty of providers. It's a matter of him finding and choosing the right fit of who he wants not only to borrow money from, but who he wants to work with, where there's a good fit for him with capacity to provide support beyond loans and deposit services to help him with his business growth objectives.
So I have a follow-up question for you, and I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. If you could tell Jason and all those in the same position as Jason one thing to have a better, more productive relationship with financial institutions like Chase, what would it be? But
I don't
before you
need,
answer,
I don't
let's
need a
get,
Elmer.
you don't. Okay, well then go.
Yeah, I would say so. Jason, you probably have a dozen banks to choose from at least that would be viable providers that would want to work with you and support your business. What I would tell you is that the loans and the interest rate for everything else is what you get. And what I mean by that is your banker should be one of your closest advisors. I like to, somewhat jokingly, but with a seriousness, say your banker should be your most valued advisor. Now, is that because we're all smarter than everybody else? No, but we're free. Your lawyer is incredibly important. Your accountants are important. Your insurance providers are important. Your banker is important too, because you have access to that individual and the team around that person just because you chose to do business with that institution. So if that company and that individual representative and his or her team is bringing valuable advice and genuine interest in supporting you and your business strategy, then you've got a winning combination. You got the services you need, and you have another resource in your corner that exists to do everything possible to make sure that you.
I like it. So let's switch gears and talk to you, Jason. What's the thing that you face as you talk to the financial institutions? What's the one thing that you wish that Greg and those in his positions knew about working with an entrepreneur like yourself?
Very often it's just connecting with the right bank, right? Very often banks, financiers, investors, they want to look for a company that has something that they understand, something that they know. It's a category that they're interested in. So connecting the right businesses with the right banks in my world is very important because they see the value in what you do. In fact, that's directly where Scalerator came in for me. Tools like this are what put the right businesses in front of the right people, and hopefully at the right times. When you have programs like this that make those connections, it's incredibly invaluable to small businesses that are trying to move themselves on a very rapid pace of growth. Because honestly, my biggest job is running the business, right? So while I have an obligation to go out and find funding and to put the right resources in place for our business to grow, I also have to run the business as well. So I don't want to spend a lot of time chasing down dead-end roads or talking to people that aren't really going to help me move forward. And programs like this are instrumental in helping us make those appropriate connections. When I talk to a banker, my first thing is getting right to the point of this is what we do, is this something that you're interested in? And then really telling the story of the business and the value of the business and making them understand where we are today, where we'd like to be, and what it's going to take to get us there.
Wow. Greg, any thoughts on that?
No, I really enjoyed hearing that because that kind of approach would make my job unbelievably easy. And I think, Jason, well, what I mean by that is that's part of that fit. Telling me what it is that you do, how you go about it, what your strategy is. You're giving me the opportunity to decide, is this something I want to sign up for or not? Jason mentioned he doesn't want to take the time to be having to look for these providers and find this capital. He wants to focus on his business. And I would even add to that is once you do pick your partner, you don't want to be working for your bank. You're working for you, and your bank is either on board or not. And it's a free choice that we have. I'm not forced to enter into a relationship with you. You're not forced to choose to work with me. But once we make that choice, we should be fundamentally on the same page so that you do run your business and I don't have to talk to you every day because I feel
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, the relationship, as you mentioned earlier, is an instrumental relationship in a small business. Once we find the bank and we're working with you, you truly become a partner. You become another valued, what do I want to say? It's almost like another executive within the business, because between the banker and the business, you come to one another for expertise. You come to one another for advice. You come to one another for the ability to make educated decisions. And you really don't want to have to move away from that, because it's just more time that you take away from your business if you've got to look for a different partner every year or every other year or more often than not. So once you make that choice, it's an instrumental choice, but once you've made it, it really becomes a valued part of your business, and you continue to foster and grow that relationship over time.
So I feel like we have done something close to impossible, which is begun to bridge the wide gap between the financiers and the entrepreneurs, because they oftentimes misunderstand each other and have an unclear sense of how their relationship should operate. So I appreciate both of you. I would love to, before we wrap up, suggest or ask that each of you give one clear takeaway for either the folks like yourselves in similar positions for how to work with the other, or for how to, again, a clear takeaway for how the folks opposite you can have a more productive relationship. Make it actionable. Greg, I'll ask you to go first.
I'm hoping that there's edit capability, Elmer, because I didn't understand the question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, there isn't. We're doing this live. But what's the step one, the single actionable thing that you would want an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a fellow banker to do to make growth more possible in their relationship?
Well, I can answer that first for you, Elmer, because my first takeaway would be to call Greg.
That was weak.
No. I'm sorry to make your day real busy, Greg.
You know what, Elmer? Here's how I look at that. Jason and I have already connected in a big way of our understanding of each other's roles. And in addition to making sure that you have a right fit, I think his growth objectives are what should guide our relationship. Our purpose, he doesn't work for me, I work for him. All right, so our job is to support that growth strategy. When he borrows money, we're not making an equity investment in his business. We're placing a bet in his long-term success and his ability to execute his strategy. It's a relatively low-risk source of capital. That's why banks, we're senior secured lenders, or however you want to look at that. But we're a supplier to him to help him realize and execute his strategy. And the reason that's so important to talk about is because that's, one, it's long term, and two, it's ever changing. And if we are ever in a disagreement on what that strategy is, we will have challenges in our relationship. The other thing is that capital is being utilized specifically for his growth. It's for his working capital needs, but it's also for the investments that he places in the long-term viability of his business, and that may be in the way of equipment. That may be, it's fixed type of longer-term investment. If those aren't specifically being made to realize on his growth strategy, it may not have been a very good use of the funds. So I think that talking about growth should be an ongoing, it should be a part of every conversation that we have within the context of our relationship.
You could not have said anything more perfect for me to hear. Jason, what's your other actionable takeaway aside from calling Greg?
Obviously, more logically, before you call Greg, small business owners, entrepreneurs, they need to have a plan of action in place. If you just walk through the doors of a bank and you sit down in front of a banker and say, hey, I need some money, they're not going to give you money. You need to have a very defined plan for what your business is, what it's going to be, what that money is going to be used for, and it needs to be well supported, well sustained, and provable. Because the banker that's going to invest in you, he's not just investing in your business. He's investing in the person. He's investing in how well you've thought this through and whether he believes you can take it from where it is to where you want it to be. And that's really on you to do it. One of my favorite words in business is always execution. Anybody can have a great plan, anybody can have great products, anybody can have anything, but it's how well you execute with those things is going to dictate what the success that you see is. So prior to going and looking for capital, have an understanding of why you need capital or if you need capital. The bank doesn't necessarily know what your business is, how you're going to grow your business, what the needs to grow it in the manner that you're thinking you're going to grow it are. You need to be able to point all of those things out in detail and make the case for why they should be investing in you and not the millions of other opportunities that they have out there.
Fantastic. So I'm going to wrap it up because I think you all have said so much useful information, and we want to keep them coming back for more. So thank you so much for joining us in this Hangout. I look forward to connecting with you in the future, and to those watching via YouTube or via other websites, please keep an eye on both Scale Up Milwaukee, on Telcanet, and on Chase for activity and support and resources for growing your business. Thanks again, and have a great one.